Welcome back. Session 14, Hot Stocks. Appreciate you guys being here and advancing your skills in the stock market. We had a big run up already in the day when we started tracking this just a couple weeks ago. We're at 360. We're at about a 5%. And today we had a nice run up to 376.19. This, if you think of this as like the foundation to your home in relation to how we're going to build out our stocks from that. And the stocks will align to the market and what the market does. You can kind of see that from this chart. So basically, since we have plugged these stocks into this chart, you can see 40% gain from IIPR. Harley already had 6%. Polaris at 8.35. AMN Health Services, we had 9%. Johnson Controls at 7%. Universal Logistics, 9%. WNS, almost 2%. 3.5% with Alliant. 9% InMode. Medfast, about 3%. Albemarle, 2%. Societe, 7.6%. Dollar General, 7.3%. Crocs actually lost 8.4%. But other than that, you can see as the market has gone up, the stocks have followed suit with that. And that's 90% of the time that will happen. And the ones that we have terminated, just recap that, 1%, 2% to 6% for JD, and 8% for Titan, and 6% for Perform Line. A couple of these I did kind of like. It just, we have such a good selection, and we'll keep track of everything. That's what makes us better investors, just always log and be diligent with keeping track of how you're doing. Would recommend, if you're new to this, just to set up a log like this. You can DM me or put in the comments that you would like some help, and we can go ahead, set stuff up, and then get you prepared for investing in the market. And there's no reason to rush in. We're kind of high. We're a little above the averages. I mentioned next year I predict about 15% fluctuation. Now, what that means, 8% going down from here, 9% going above, a straight 15 above here. That is uncertain. We won't know that until the end of next year to see how the market reacts and everything that's involved with that. Usually, there is a down trend, but next year could just be a straight ramp up. Doesn't have to be any crashes for next year. It could just go straight up. The 2024, 2025, could be the same thing. It might be a while before we get to another downturn in the market, and that's possible. And we just want to kind of get ourselves prepared for anything that comes our way. That's how you win this game. Just being prepared and knowing the averages and knowing relatively what might come of it. So, so what I have done is I selected these companies based on score. So they start with the A's. These are companies that I do like, and I'm pleased to announce that I did purchase Harley-Davidson out of these companies. I felt like they're the ones that met the criteria that I was after. And the whole goal here is to make 20% and as fast as we can. If this market keeps going up, I predict, maybe February, March, I'll get my 20%. And again, the goal was, 44.56. And they had a good ceiling to that. The target price, we missed them from 25. It would have been nice, but we still relatively low in comparison to where the stock has been. They hit 50 a couple times, and over the years, 50 has been a high. And I think the thing that really held Harley back was just the pandemic. It was hard to sell bikes when people were worried about their health and concerned about the economy and the overall, jobs and everything. Everything was a mess. And if you had children, you had to worry about getting them set up for at home, and you might have not worked at home. So there's a lot of things that year that were way more important than buying a motorcycle. I'm pleased to announce, though, that Harley does lead. They have the market share for the motorcycle industry on a global scale, and motorcycles are set to pretty much double by 2030, and their shares are supposed to increase as well. So all those factors I looked into, and that's why I made a decision and pulled the trigger on Harley Davidson. And like I said, it was no little amount, 382 shares is what I bought in at that price, 37.13. So we're looking at, or 37.15 rather. So we're looking at the shares multiplied by the price. So, oops. Got some of the numbers reversed there. Sorry about that. 832. So yeah, we're at $31,000. And the reason there, I plan on buying more as the stock goes down, but I'm happy where I'm at right now. If I get 20%, that's roughly a $6,000 return. And I think I'm going to hit it in the next couple of months, hopefully. But if nothing else, I'm happy owning Harley for the long term, and that's how I think about these things. I don't mind owning them for 10, 20 years either. Long-term strategy. I think Harley remains very relevant in the next decade, so I have no problem holding it for that long. And I just like to win, and make money in the stock game. And I think no matter what happens, I'll be okay. Let's look at the dividends and how we do that. So basically, I go to Stock Analysis. It's a free tool. You can see since the pandemic where they were losing, they weren't losing money, but they definitely were hurting. But since then, they gave 15 cents and then 15.75, 16.5. So I expect for the new year that I will be getting an increase from this. They have the free cash flow to award the investors. So I would predict, another penny or so. So maybe 17.5 cents. So I'll put that on my chart. And then the pay date. Say 18 cents, and then the pay date looks like March 3rd. They pay out March 2nd. So yeah, sometime early March. So I'll put March 1st. 24 is what we'd be looking at there. And then we figure that out like mine times the shares owned. So that's kind of the amount that we can expect on that date. And we'll reinvest that. So that'll be shares back into the company. So if you never seen how dividends work and that type of thing, you'll find out firsthand on this channel as we go forward. And like I said, we do have other companies in consideration. I still like these companies very much. We put a lot of work into this, and even though I select Harley, that doesn't mean that, I'm not going to buy other companies as well. I'm strongly looking at Polaris, IIPR, oil own, but I'm considering purchasing more shares. Like I said, I think in 2030, they're a very relevant company. Johnson Controls is another front runner that I'm considering as well. And then I'm working on the Elite 100 list. and I'll show you what that's all about, tomorrow. And we'll get back on FinViz this week as well. We'll do a segment and maybe find other companies that we could consider investing as well. But that concludes today's episode. Thanks for standing by, and we'll keep updating this as it goes on. Thank you. Have a great day.